In high school, I was dating a guy who lived in a really nice and popular neighborhood, like one of those that has a country club and everyone plays tennis and all that. He lived with his mom, as his parents were divorced, and his brother came home from college every now and then. One day when I was over at his house and his mom had left to go somewhere, I heard something from the room next to us. It was hard to describe what it was. Maybe a piece of furniture sliding a little on the hardwood. But I was of course creeped out because we were home alone, and he had no pets. I asked about it and he got really serious, said, "Yeah, you might hear some stuff from time to time. I think there's a bit of paranormal activity in the house." And of course I was like, "You can't just say that." And I made him tell me everything about it. He said they had been living in that house for about 5 years, and he started experiencing weird things from about the time that they moved in. He said that sometimes he would notice that furniture had moved, even though his mom said she hadn't touched anything. He would experience really weird temperature changes in the house, especially from one room that he refused to step foot in because it gave him a horrible feeling. Since I had first gone to his house, I also noticed this room as the door was always open, and I always felt my blood run cold if I looked at it for too long. He told me one time he had gone downstairs for a snack in the middle of the night, and the second he stepped foot in the kitchen, it was instantly freezing and absolutely reeked of some awful smell that he could only describe as a dead animal, which he was able to recognize as he had been hunting for most of his life. He said he decided to ignore it and quickly made himself a snack, and in the 5 minutes that he was in the room, the stench and the cold was entirely gone by the time he was done. After hearing all this, I was very hesitant about spending time in his house, but he assured me there was nothing to worry about. Going forward, I would often spend the night, and his mother traveled quite a bit for work, so she was gone most of the time. One night, we were laying in bed talking, and out of nowhere we heard loud footsteps coming from down the hall, all the way to in front of his door, where they abruptly stopped. And I'm talking loud, like someone was wearing heavy boots on hardwood floors. He immediately jumped out of bed and opened the door, and there was nothing there. We would hear scratches on the walls as well, but that could be chalked up to an animal or something. One of the scariest instances that happened while I was in the house was when we were getting ready to head out. It was the middle of the day, and I get really bad allergies in the summer, which I had been suffering from, especially bad that day. We were at the foot of the stairs putting our shoes on, and he said he had to grab something from the kitchen, which was around the corner, and you couldn't see the foyer where the stairs were or the front door from that room. He walked into the kitchen, and I immediately felt a sneeze attack coming on, but his mother was home at the time and was taking a nap, so I ran out the front door because I didn't want to wake her up. I decided to wait out there for him, and about 2 minutes later he came outside, face pale, and asked if I had said anything inside. I replied that I hadn't, and I had been outside the entire time. He told me he had been looking for his keys in the kitchen and had heard me call his name loud and clear from the foyer. He had replied asking what, and when he didn't hear anything back, he stepped around the corner and saw that I was outside. This was especially rattling because he said it sounded exactly like my voice. For months after every incident that occurred, I encouraged him to talk to his mom about what had been going on in the house. We confronted her and told her about our experiences, and she started acting really weird and immediately shut it down. Told us that there was nothing happening, and when we tried to press about it, she told us to stop. My boyfriend and I took to doing a little research on the neighborhood and found that there had been claims that the houses had been built on a Native American burial ground. Eventually, his brother had come home for winter break from college. My boyfriend had told me not to mention anything about the paranormal stuff because he was sensitive about it. That's when I learned that everything going on seemed to elevate once his brother was in the house. The weird phenomena began to focus more on him, and he quickly became extremely depressed just days after moving home. He couldn't explain why, but told us that he had been suffering from some very extreme nightmares and sleep paralysis, in which he would wake up from and find his desk chair spinning next to his bed. He said that in one of these dreams, he was paralyzed in his room and he met an entity that told him its name. I'm not going to say it here, but you can look it up if you're intrigued. He said he had never before heard this name, and we looked it up afterward, and it turned out to be the demon of lucid dreaming. Shortly after, my boyfriend and I had broken up, and I haven't heard anything else about the situation since. Before you proceed to the next interesting story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more creeping true stories. This happened to me 15 years ago when I was 17. I've never managed to find any sort of explanation behind it. I live in Scotland. I went for a run around a loop, which went from my village around a tarmac road around 4 miles, then back into the village. It passed through farms, woods, and a few remote houses on the route. It was mid-December, around 5 p.m., so it wasn't daylight, however wasn't dark. I was about 2.5 miles into the run with headphones in. As I was running, there was a long old farm building to my right, a field behind a hedge on the left, then woods either side of the road about 200 meters beyond this. I saw a man walking towards me. He had his head down, a beanie hat on, a dull-looking jacket. He had a particular build, similar to one of my friends, Ross. He was just under 6 foot, broad shoulders, not fat but built. As I got closer, he moved into the shadow of the farm building to my right, so I pulled my headphones out as it was strange. I slowed to a walk as I was around 10 meters away and found he was gone. The wall was sandstone, but there was an old doorway which was previously bricked up. There weren't any other doors. Once I thought I'd seen a ghost, I had the option to run back to a house who I knew the person that lived there, or run through the road with woods either side. I quickly decided I couldn't go to someone's house as I'd look weird, so ran home via the woods. I told my mother about this when I got home. She said I must have hallucinated, etc., and didn't believe me. The next day she was at work and told her workmates the story. At the end of the story, one of her co-workers pulled her aside to ask what the person looked like. She told him he was built like Ross XX, who was well known. She went white and explained her husband's father had been cremated that day and used to walk from the waterworks along that road to his house each night after work. I saw in the newspaper a couple days later a statement saying Jimmy had been cremated that day. I've been back many times since and never seen anything similar,